Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Noisecast, Noise Magazine podcast. And today, our guest of honor is Peter Tägtgren of Hypocrisy, and most and foremost, mind and body behind the Abyss studio. Hello, Peter.
Hey, great to be here.
In February this year, 30 years have passed since Hypocrisy dropped the usual metal cookbook, Forsaken Demons, and all of this was switched to aliens, conspiracy theories. And if you could tell me what caused that shift, what was the impulse to go in that direction, to completely abandon the usual metal music imaginarium?
Yeah, it got boring. And plus we changed singer. So a lot of things changed at the same time. So I started writing about other things like different dimensions and quantum stuff. And yeah, So then I started getting into that and, just went around about conspiracy theories and things like that. And, yeah, it's just my imagination, and it's just like writing a book,
Were the books the primary source for this? Because I can't, right now in the internet era, the accessibility to whole crazy world is, just at the palm of each and everyone's hands. So what were your sources?
No, it was actually Yellow Pages in Sweden. They had like a big newspaper, and it was just yellow pages with all different kind of crap selling. And always there, they had this UFO kind of section where you could buy VCRs and stuff with interviews and shit. So I got a lot of those VCRs and was listening to them. And, that was my YouTube, put it that way,
Okay. Yeah. And over the years, did your interaction with the world of conspiracy theories, alien theories, did it change with the internet, or did you stay old school?
No, I mean, of course, nowadays you listening to people blah 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 all day long, on the tube or wherever you go when people talk. So I mean, I listen a little bit everywhere, and I make my own conclusions, to be honest.
Okay, and were you following closely the hearings before the United States Congress in 2024 and 2025, where they even tried to change, they changed actually the classification from UFO to UAP, the unidentified animals phenomena. What are your conclusion thoughts on this subject?
Oh, it's retarded. It's just a clown show.
Okay.
Really, for the people. And going from UFO to UAP, it's like the UFO never happened. So whatever happens now, we call it UAP, and then it's okay to say it exists or whatever. It's just retarded. They've been lying for over 80 years, to everybody. So but slowly they try to get it out if there is something. But I will be very shocked if we are the only intelligent people in the whole universe, that's so retarded. But if they're here right now or not, nobody knows.
So you don't see this as a breakthrough or sorts?
No. No, because I've been into it for over 40 years, and they've always been talking about disclosure here and disclosure there, and nothing happens. I don't think it ever will come from the government. I think if it would be, they would kick in the door and just say, hello, here we are. And don't take us to your leader,
Okay. Speaking of conspiracy theories, did you follow closely the Epstein files situation? Yeah. And what are your, observations on that subject? Because I've seen that on the internet, for many people, who've been following that kind of stuff, it's been like, well, perhaps the birthday is not exactly the best phrasing here, but, definitely I told you moments. Yeah, so some sort of this.
Everybody knew about the elites and Hollywood and all that shit, eating babies and drinking blood and shit, But now normal people will get it in their face to see it, I guess. In the past, it was only us conspiracy theorists that was saying things like that,
Sure.
But not,
okay.
So it is brutal. It's totally brutal. I mean, so many kids missing a year. It's like, I don't know how many children, but it's a lot. And where do they go? It's millions. It's crazy per year.
Yeah, and what's crazy to me that there's barely any consequences to what actually was revealed. But
it's unbelievable. Everybody gets to go free from it. It's crazy. Nobody gets hung on the street from a fucking high tree. That would be better.
Yep, hard and agree on that. Okay, so moving back to music, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that apart from the debut album, you've never played drums again for Hypocrisy. And I wonder,
I do. I have played on many albums.
After the debut?
Yeah, of course.
In that case, I have to check my sources. So, but recently, you're just writing and playing guitar, and when touring, you're mostly on guitar. So, how do you balance that? Because I know that drums are your main instrument, and where is the drive to pick up the guitar and focus on guitar coming from, essentially?
That started when I was 15 years old, because it got complicated to explain to the guitarists and the bass players when you were sitting behind the drums how to play the guitars. I mean, the riffs that you made. So I was sitting with an acoustic guitar behind me. I had to take it out and sit and play, and so they understood. And then, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then. So after a while, I just said, "Fuck it, I'll just play guitar," because I was writing so much music, so it made more sense. So I was actually, when I was writing a riff or whatever, I was practicing playing guitar because I didn't really play guitar. So it's been like that forever. It always feels like I'm playing the left hand instead of the right. But I mean, I played on a few albums. I think maybe the last ones was like, oh fuck, I don't know. I think on Final Chapter, I think me and Lars were doing one song each all the time. So because he was doing guitars, I was doing drums. So we were changing a lot. Maybe there was more on Into the Abyss and stuff like that, but I can't remember. We always filled in for each other.
I wonder how how much your playing guitar developed your drum mindset, and in reverse as well.
Yeah.
How did it help you? Because you said that at first it was about communication issues, but also you've been doing a lot of music solo. So I wonder how the two worlds intertwine, guitar and drums, for you.
I'm not a soloist, I'm just a melodist, to be honest. So I just play melodies, not really solos. In the past, it was whammy bar and overtones and shit like that. It was nothing. So I see myself more as a songwriter than a musician, to be honest. The musician thing is just so I can explain how to play it, or when I record it myself with pain or something. But yeah. And then I have to play all the instruments because there's nobody around here. I mean, now I have my kid Sebastian. He plays on the latest Pain album, and he jumped in, played drums with Hypocrisy when Henrik was getting a kid last summer. So so I don't have to play drums anymore. I played on the Lindemann albums and all the Pain albums up till He Only Lived Twice. It was David Balin, also a really good drummer. And then also on the last one, it was Sebastian. So, but I haven't touched the drums after that.
Would you be open to talk more about your relationship with Sebastian and how it goes in regards to picking up metal music and instruments? Because as much as I observe in some musical families that kids really often pick up instruments, they parents also played, but as many cases, they also, sort of rebel and go in completely separate directions. So I wonder if metal and rock music was the bonding thing for you.
Yeah, I think music has a lot to do with it, because when he was a kid, he said, "Oh, I'm going to be a drummer," but he never practiced. And then one day when he was like 13, he's like, "Okay, I'm going to start playing drums." So he was actually staying in my brother's studio when he was having his studio going. And he was sitting there playing drums and practicing. And after a couple of months, he showed me. I was like, holy shit. And he was super fast. He was going for blast beats and super fast double bass. So he was a really fast drummer. And then I took him to Pain, of course. Then he became an AC/DC drummer. So, but like I said, he jumps in for Hypocrisy sometimes, on festivals if there's something going on with Henrik. So.
Okay, so you didn't exactly force anything on him. It's more of providing opportunities.
Yeah, he just went into the studio because it was empty and the drums were sitting there. So he was sitting there practicing, and I didn't even realize it, after a couple of months, and then boom, he was really good.
Wow, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And talking about studio, I feel like the Abyss studio was for quite some time a true hub for metal music in Sweden. And over the last years, there's definitely less output from you regarding engineering, mixing, and so on and so forth. And I wonder, did you get more picky over time, or is it not fun anymore, or is it just about time management?
I mean, if something interesting comes up, never say never. But I stopped really doing production 10 years ago because I did so much in the past, and I think it's enough. Put it that way. Okay. I mean, I can do a few things here and there, no problem, but it's got to be interesting. I recorded a band last year. It was a blues band because I thought that was refreshing. So
blues band, okay.
Yeah, that's
unexpected.
Heavy blues band.
And what was your approach? Did you have any particular mindset? Because like your usual musical output is, in my opinion, quite on the different end of spectrum than blues music. There's this massive wall of sound in your style, right? It's very intense.
I love the blues. Really
so what was it like talking to those people and figuring out how to produce the album?
I think it was easy. I mean, I understand blues, I understand music, so I helped out a little bit with lyrics and how to sing them, and also with the sound, and we help each other, and it turned out really good. Przed, that's what it's called. And the latest album I did.
Przed?
And the latest album that came out last year. I helped out.
Okay, fine. Thank you. I'll check them out. I'm really curious how it turned out.
Yeah.
I wanted to also ask about another story from the past. A long time ago, there was a band, The Abyss. And you recorded 2 albums of very aggressive, fast-paced black metal, and then split up in 98, if I researched the thing correctly. And are there any chances that you will come back to this project like one day in the future?
Nah. I mean, I have to practice playing fast drums. Then it's gonna take me a while.
Okay.
I don't know. It was mainly Michael and Lars on the second album kind of writing, but it started really because we really love black metal as well as death metal or thrash metal and any metal. So we had a lot of outputs. Instead of putting that into Hypocrisy, we put it in a different kind of place, and took it all the way. So, and we felt like, okay, now we're done. We got all the black metal out of us. And that was it.
Okay, so water under the bridge, completely.
Yeah, you never know, but I mean, fuck, man, doing blast beat and double bass today, It's going to take me a while to get back up in speed.
Okay. And I gotta ask,
from the last album.
I gotta ask, was there any link between The Abyss and Marduk and how these two entities sounded? Because at the time you were recording, especially the second album, you were mixing a number of the releases, and one of them was Heaven Shall Burn When We Are Gathered.
That's also the first one I recorded the first one with them there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's the first I did with them. Yeah, so, and that was kind of in between the first and the second album, I guess. I can't remember what time, but the first one we actually did in '94. That was before I haven't even started to record bands. And that's pretty much why we did The Abyss, to start something to record. And that's why we called it The Abyss, because it was the first.
I was just curious if there was some flow of ideas back and forth, because I heard some similarities between those two releases, and
Hey, it was Swedish black metal. It sounds like Marduk, or if we wanted even to make it more primitive. We're more from the Venom world from the beginning, like very primitive, almost punkish.
So you were very much into the first wave stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, first Welcome to Hell came 81, I think. I was into that. And that's what most of this shit, black metal, came out. That's how Bathory started black metal, and then.
So I also wanted to ask if you have sometimes shower thoughts or introspections about how pain and hypocrisy influence one another, in that sense that at a certain point, initially Pain was your solo project, and at a certain point it grew really, really big. And I imagine it takes a lot to balance time and effort and everything that goes between those two entities. And I wonder if maybe there's an alternative timeline in which you decided to, not create pain and invest everything you have in hypocrisy. Would that be possible, or do these two bands' projects have to exist at the same time and somehow, fill different needs?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they need equal time, unfortunately, because, pain is my, I would say, producing experiment and also writing experiment. I take out, I'm not afraid to write anything. And the hypocrisy is to stay hypocrisy, in my point of view. And when it feels right, then we do another song and another song and another song. So when there is need in your body for aggression, then usually I start writing for hypocrisy. So
I'm curious if you are maybe incorporating any AI tools into your workflow, or are you avoiding them as a rule?
No, I don't. I know sometimes they send some on our Instagram or Facebook or something like that with AI stuff, and I see people, well, no, even if you have funny things, they hate it. But no, I never even thought about doing that. I don't need to. I have ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole point of writing, to get your ideas out.
Sure. And I wholeheartedly agree. Like generative AI is something I really, really, I'm really oversensitive, maybe.
But
about the subject.
Those tools are for, I don't know, truck drivers who wants to write their own music. Just in particular, anything except a musician, it's good tools for them to write. Oh, my brother's birthday is the 40th birthday. I need to write him a song. Okay, AI, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's more a tool for that. But of course, I'm sure there's other people who's trying to write music, in the band, but I never tried. So I am not interested.
I'm asking because I see AI stuff infiltrating more and more the music industry, even metal industry, and even big bands, big artists who definitely can afford, for example, artists who will do an album cover for them, still go for AI, and like BSide or Kerry King had AI generated album covers. And what's your stance on that? What's your sense of using AI graphics?
I mean, whatever works. I mean, it's up to every person, I think, to decide what they want to do. Like I said, I want to stay away from AI as long as I can, put it that way. And there's a lot of talent out there that can fix really cool covers for you without AI.
What the setlist is going to be on the upcoming tour, because in April you're embarking on a tour to, journey through Europe, and what's the repertoire going to be?
It's going to be a best of, and with a few songs we never played live before, so it will be a mix of 35 years. We're actually practicing right now, so we're deciding right now.
You have a lot of material to choose from. What are your...
Yeah, that's a problem.
So what's your go-to solution when you have to, pick the best of stuff?
Well, we see what people write in the commentaries on Facebook and Instagram and all that shit. And also look on Spotify, like the top 10 and top 20 most listened songs. So you can get a kind of idea what people want to hear.
So is there any song that, people really, really like to hear live and you just hate playing it? Like, come on, guys, please stop with this already.
Well, we got one song, I think, that we never played before that people want to hear live. So let's see. That's for sure. I know that.
And we've talked about AI a bit, but I also wanted to ask about the idea of holographic concerts or holograms. And recently, Gene Simmons from Kiss, and I know that Kiss was a big influence for you, basically told the press that they are working with FX artists and some tech guys to bring Kiss shows to life without Kiss. And it's going to be, better than Disneyland, with dragons flying, breathing fire that you can feel, and so on and so on. And
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Okay.
I'm glad I saw them 96 in Donington. That was the last time I saw them. First time it was 83, I think. I've seen them many times, but I'm really happy I got to see them when they were on top, when they did their reunion. Then they still singing and playing just like they should, And then a year later, I saw them in Stockholm, and it got worse. And then I saw them a year later, and it got even worse. And then, it's good night. So, and this was before 2000. I saw Psycho Circus tour, this 3D thing. Oh man, it was time. I mean, they should have done the reunion and then just close it down, in my opinion. But whatever. I mean, I see new kids that's 10, 15 years old that's into it. So I guess it goes in generations. So what do I know?
And what about your fans, the fans of Pain and Hypocrisy? Do you see a lot of new faces on the gigs?
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, I see some old friends out there that I've seen for many years, but you also see younger generation, which is good. It means that at least you're doing something modern or whatever, or there's hope for death metal. So yeah, it's nice. It's never, only old metalheads from 90s and 80s. It's new generations all the time. So that's good. We're happy for that.
Okay, so I think we've covered all the bases. Thank you for the time.
All right, cool.
Thank you so much.
Have
a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
You too.